Hey everyone, welcome back to part 2.
Question I got a lot is, did I need certain accommodations for my classes, like extra time for exams and stuff like that? And I did work with the Accommodations Adaptive Services Office to get that stuff settled, and I was granted additional time for my exams and stuff. It's just something that I kind of had in my IEPs growing up in school. If things took a little longer for me to navigate, it was something that I wanted to have access to when I came to college as well. I kind of had to maintain what that looked like with each professor one-on-one. So if you do need any kind of accommodations like that, each university should have some type of office and dedicated staff committed to making those types of changes for you. You know when a smell just instantly unlocks a core memory that you totally forgot? So I'm scooting through FGCU's campus right now where the majority of my classes were, and some of the buildings are doing that for me. I'm like, I spent so much of my time in these buildings, whether it was in classes or meeting up for group projects or studying, and I totally forgot what they smell like, and they smell exactly the same. And this is so wild to be doing this. Had to show off their automatic door openers, which I used a lot during my time here. So fun fact, I actually worked on campus for 2 years while I was here. I worked in one of the advising offices for the College of Arts and Sciences, which just so happened to be the college that my major was under as well. It was the perfect job for me because it was a lot of admin, a lot of computer work, a lot of answering phones and scheduling appointments for students to meet with their advisors. So it wasn't a very physical job. I did have to do some filing in the back room that involved a lot of standing and bending down and stuff, but it actually was a nice mix for me personally to be able to stretch my legs. And since it was on campus, it was really easy for me to scoot to kind of the same route that I would take from my dorms or the parking lots when I was living off campus and would drive and park. But yeah, it was one of my first jobs, not my first job ever, but it was what worked for me and helped pay the bills. And you know, the state of Florida has something called Bright Future, so I had a lot of scholarships. I'm still currently paying off student loans, so everyone that watches and shares helps me get that debt down. But yeah, I did have to work as well. This was the building that I worked in. So this section of the hallway I'm in right now, I'm actually cracking up because you used to be allowed to smoke cigarettes in that one section, and whenever I was scooting to class, I would just go like full rabbit mode and hold my breath. That was the only part of campus that you were allowed to smoke cigarettes. I have never smoked a cigarette in my life, but I always did not like the smell. So yeah, it seems like it's non-smoking everywhere now, but that unlocked a memory for me. Okay, I'm going to tell a story while I'm scooting around campus. So I don't know if anyone watching is a college basketball fan, but when I went to FGCU my sophomore year, there was something pretty incredible that happened. We became famously known as Dunk City because our team made it to the Sweet 16. It broke so many brackets. It was called like the Cinderella story. I was actually friends with a lot of the basketball players because I was a communications major, so a lot of them were in my classes, and of course they missed a ton of school with all the hype and traveling and everything, especially as they kept progressing in the finals. And the energy on campus was unlike anything I had ever experienced before. I was living in the sophomore dorms at the time, and I remember the night they won, where they advanced to the next round. Everyone was outside standing on cars. We had news stations here, and then actually a bunch of my friends and I took a charter bus that someone from the university set up, where we literally drove from Fort Myers, Florida to Dallas, Texas to watch them play in the finals. Unfortunately, they lost to the University of Florida, but it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I got to travel with all my friends to cheer on FGCU, and it was just hands down one of the top moments of my life, especially at that time. So if anyone remembers that era of March Madness, I was there, part of history. So I wanted to kind of throw that in there and see if there's any basketball fans. Let me know in the comments. I actually took some of my graduation photos right here. There's a really beautiful little pond, and it's really serene and quiet, and as you can see, this campus is just so pretty. A lot of my graduation photos I took with my sorority sisters, so I figured that here would be a great spot to kind of talk about what it was like meeting people when I went away to school. A lot of people were wondering what it was like for me, if it was hard with a disability. So I actually was in a sorority. I went through traditional recruitment when I first started my freshman year, and I really did not think that I was going to be a sorority girl, but at FGCU the campus is so small, there is not Greek housing here. Fort Myers itself is kind of an older population, so really the majority of the place to meet people were here on campus, and sorority and fraternity Greek life was one of the easiest ways to do that. I will say recruitment itself, I wasn't advocating for myself at the time, so I definitely probably pushed myself too hard when it came to walking around and going to the different sororities and situations that were a little tough for me, tiring for me. I wasn't using my scooter at the time. I feel that maybe I was discriminated against a little bit when it came to being chosen for a sorority. All that said, I did match with a sorority. I still was kind of unsure how I felt, but I just started going to a few of the meetings. Some of the girls had kind of like reached out to grab lunch with me or grab coffee, and I started to meet friends that way. And you know, now 10 years later, I'm here visiting my friends that I met through Greek life and being in a sorority. Will say any advice for anyone with a disability going through recruitment, I would advocate for yourself. Try to learn about the process. I know each university is very different, but they are very time-consuming days. You're talking a lot, so hopefully they each offer specific accommodations for what you need. Like I said, I wasn't really advocating for myself at the time. I kind of just like was making things work for me, but in hindsight, if I could go give myself advice, it would be that, just to advocate for myself, whether it would be in sorority recruitment or within my classes or living on campus and stuff like that. Just using your voice. You know your needs better than anyone else, and they should be granted to you if you do require any accommodations. In high school, I was really involved in student government, so once I came to FGCU and joined my sorority, and the longer I was in it and was kind of opened up a little more, because like I said, my first couple of years I was really quiet, but thankfully I did have girls reach out, want to become my friend. There were still a handful of people that did not want to get to know me. They did not want to, or they were not able to see past my disability to try to welcome me in. I'm learning, you know, every phase of life, it comes with that, and I always have felt that my disability helps me weed out the people that aren't meant to be in my life. So the people that did reach out and form friendships with me are still some of the most genuine people in my life today, that I've gone through all these different phases of life, from, you know, being a teenager, being on my own for the first time, to graduating, having my first career, switching careers, and you know, everything that comes with that. A lot of my friends have kids now, so just being part of the different chapters, but it all started here. I don't know if I would have done Greek life at another university, just because it is so small and tight-knit here, but it really did serve as a really good bridge for me to meet people like me going through similar situations, you know, leaving home for the first time and stuff like that. So I had a really positive experience in that sense. Of course, a few bad eggs in the mix, but like I said, it really helped me find the people that were meant to be in my life for genuine reasons that I'm still proud to call my best friends today. And then a lot of the social aspects that we did, even not related to sororities, were a lot of off-campus stuff. You know, if there were house parties and stuff like that, someone had asked me what accessibility was like, and I think overall Fort Myers is just very accommodating. It's been built up a ton even since I lived here, and with the newer buildings, everything is accessible. So I really didn't have any issues. I think it was a perfect bridge for me leaving home, being able to get home within 2 hours if needed, but being in a smaller, more intimate campus that I can navigate around easily with scoots, and also get to have, you know, relationships with my professors, more kind of like a hands-on approach. So I think that this was the best university for me. I really hope that this was insightful for you. While I was here visiting Fort Myers, where I lived for 5 years of my life, it was really a truly nostalgic experience to come here. I haven't spent more than 5 minutes on this campus since I graduated in 2015. So this was an amazing process for me to kind of grow through and share with you, and I'm sure there's a ton more stories I can share, so if there's any specific topic related to going to in college with cerebral palsy, let me know and maybe I can do additional videos on it as well. Definitely do your research when selecting which university is right for you, keeping in mind the accessibility and what kind of services each university offers you and what your needs are. But I hope this was helpful, and thank you for watching.